Happy Monday and welcome to the Wolff Den presented by Win Again Academy. Mark Moyer doing some great things with his networking and informational events. We have another one Wednesday night. Brandon Steiner of Steiner Sports is going to be there. I believe there's a special guest going to join Brandon as well. But check out winagainacademy.com for more information. I am Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we welcome Adam Mesh to the Wolff Den. Adam, how are you today?
Good, Matt. Thanks for having me. Brandon Steiner is a good guest. He has a lot of good sports memorabilia.
Yeah, we're trying to get Brandon on the Wolff Den too, but hopefully I'll see him on Wednesday at the Win Again Academy event. For those of you who don't know Adam, we grew up in the same town, Marlboro, New Jersey. But give everybody a little bit of background on who you are, and then we'll dive right in.
Sure, yeah. Proud to be from Marlboro, New Jersey. Great memories there. Went to school, University of Michigan, started trading in 1997. Got involved with reality television 2003, 2004. Started my own online trading, publishing, and education company in 2006, which has been going on for 15 years now.
Yeah, so we'll start out with the Marlboro stuff since we probably have some people from Marlboro. Marlboro, it's the most famous person that I know is probably Jim Nance. There's a list, and I was just looking at the list. I'm like, I don't even know who half these people are. I know Klecko, and I know, obviously Miles Masick was on there. He was
Howie Roseman.
Yeah, well, Howie, and I went to trying to get Howie on the show too. Went to college with Howie also. So
Florida.
Yeah, it's a lot of people from Marlboro. How often do you go back? I know your parents are still there.
Yeah, according to my parents, not enough. I was in Westfield yesterday visiting my sister, and it took us over 2 hours to get home. I live in Long Island now. So not enough, but every time I do, I love it. Go to the bagel place next to where the video store used to be. Pizza place where I used to play video games. Yeah, all of it. Yeah,
I love going back tomorrow. I'm actually going to drive my mom back up next week to bring her home for the summer. How about Michigan? How often do you go back to Michigan?
I haven't been back there in a while. I'm involved with Michigan a lot on the Next Gen board and, passionately root for them, but I haven't gone back. Yeah.
So what is your –
I haven't gone back recently.
Yeah. Talk about your trading. What is it about? What keeps you busy?
I've been trading since 1997. Follow the markets closely. The way I trade has evolved. I always try to stay on the cutting edge of what's best for the individual investor. So I started as a day trader. Then I got into swing trading. In 2014, I started trading options. And options is the way I've gone for the last 7 years. And last year, with a whole new emergence of new traders, the Robinhood Rebellion, lots of options traders, it became better than ever. So right now, options trading is where it's at for sure.
And you've been on, I've seen you on television. You've had some, they invite you to talk about trading. How does that come to be? I mean, obviously, I guess you got some visibility with the reality show. Which of those came first? Your appearances?
Trading. There was actually there's a guy named Nelson Schwartz who wrote for Fortune magazine, and he came to the trading firm we were at. This is like before the reality stuff, and he said, "Who should I watch trade?" And they said that he should watch me, and it's one of those random coincidences. He was standing behind me for like 10 minutes, and I made like 20 grand day trading. And he did this amazing article in Fortune that went viral before Instagram or anything like that, or Facebook. But like people saw the article. It was a big article. And then a year later, Fortune did a follow-up. And then they did a follow-up a year later. And they always made me look good. So I had that. Then I went on television. And that was just like a vacation. My friend knew the casting director. I went on the show, having a good time. Zach, who was on the show with me, actually lives in Marlboro now, which is funny, and great guy. But we got to the end of the show, and it was me and one other guy, and they came to New York, my apartment, and they saw the Fortune articles framed on the wall. and they had never asked like what I do, so I never discussed it. And they're like, "Wait, what do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I own a trading firm." And next thing you know, it was like on after Friends. They're doing this big push, like the modest millionaire, and like they just started blowing it up. And then people started writing in asking about the stock market. So it was like the trading came first, the magazines came first, and then NBC put it on steroids.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the average Joe. So you got on the show because you said you knew a casting manager?
My friend was good friends with the casting director. We didn't know what it was. It's like I didn't want to go do a reality show. It was when they were brand new. And we're like, what is it? He's like, the working title is Life of the Party. You go party in Palm Springs for 40 days. And so me and my buddy were like, yeah, we'll do it. You know?
That's awesome. And then it turned out that you were a finalist and they decided to do a whole other show just directed on you. So
Yeah.
you were the one with the women that were vying for your attention. What was the big difference between the two?
Oh, it's a good question. Well, the first time around, everything was new. Like being on television, the cameras, getting used to the experience, finding out what it was. So it was all just kind of like an adventure. I think the second time, because I had to make decisions every week, it was a little bit more responsibility. But both were very fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. But when you first joined the Average Joe, did you ever think that you would be like, hey, I got a chance to win this thing or to get towards the end? I mean, it was really at the beginning of reality TV. Now, I mean, man, Bachelor's on their 47th season or something like that.
Yeah, no, it was early on. I remember it was just it was a fortuitous timing because I think everyone in their life reaches a point where they're just totally themselves and they care less about what people think, and the sooner you get there, the more you enjoy life, being respectful, but like just being authentic. And I was 27 at the time and I had reached that point that year where I said what I was thinking. I didn't care if I looked silly, and that worked out well for me on the show because I think people, no matter what you're doing, they know if you're being for real or if you seem fake. And I think people want real.
Well, I actually disagree with that. I think most people don't know when you're being fake because I think too many people who aren't real and genuine are getting rewarded for bad behavior, probably even on the reality show. But it's interesting you say that because I think that was going to be a question. Like when you're on this show, you have to almost be what you think the person wants to be or what everyone wants to see because it's reality TV. And I use the word reality. You would know more than I would, but I don't know how real any of this stuff is with cameras in your face and, editing and all of that. I don't know that I would survive very long with being, genuine and who I am because I like to ruffle feathers. I'm not just a yes man. So it's interesting
that would make you more of a standout, like Bethany from the Real Housewives of New York, who created a whole brand. I would argue that I knew her. She's the exact same in person as she was on that show. Yeah. So maybe the success, maybe some of the people. I just had dinner last week with Josh Brown from CNBC, and I love watching Josh Brown on TV. And I met him in person, and exact same. And I said to him, "This is why everyone loves watching you because you are the exact same in person as the TV." And he's like, "Thank you." So I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure there's some people that could fake it, but I think the most loved people are authentic. But
from that,
we would have to go name by name to determine if we agree on that or not.
That's for another conversation.
Yeah.
What would have happened if she chose you? I mean,
probably nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It's a good lesson. Like, right? Things work out for a reason. I know, looking back, that the best thing that could have ever happened was that she didn't. Yeah,
because you wouldn't have had the second show, and
right.
It's funny. I full disclosure, I'm not a reality TV guy. My wife watches a bunch of stuff, but it seems like not winning is a better deal for a lot of people, whether that's American Idol or America's Got Talent, or even in The Bachelor and Bachelorette and all of these dating shows, Married at First Sight. Have you watched any of these now?
My wife watches like the Real Housewives ones to fall asleep, and I love Summer House. I watch Summer House. The guys on that show are hysterical. Yeah, you know, it's funny. You don't know. Like, I think if you asked any person who went on The Bachelor, would you rather win or have your own show? At any point, they would say, have my own show, if they were answering honestly.
Yeah, I just don't. I think it's hard to. You just look at the numbers, and it just doesn't. It's not a successful formula. Going on a show, trying to meet someone, and ending up with each other. Now, that's not to say it can't happen. I'm just saying overall, the numbers will prove that it just doesn't work.
Well, yeah, it depends on how you determine success. Like for romance and love, no. For exposure and successful careers, there's been a lot of that, you know. So yeah, but I agree with you that I don't know. I guess there's a couple, but you're right for the most part. That's you know.
But at the core of it, I mean, well, maybe not. You'd like to think that they're going on these shows for the right reason, to find someone. And the stuff that I've watched, it just seems like half the people don't. Like they want to get their face out there, or, you know, they probably realize they're not going to, but it'll springboard them for a job or a career or visibility. It seemed like you went on the show because it seemed like it would be a good time. And
I didn't even know it was a dating show.
They didn't tell you?
No, I didn't know it was a dating show when I went on.
So when you got there, then you found out.
Yeah.
And so that must have been weird. You're like, hey, we're going to hang out with a bunch of dudes, and they were all vying for the same woman.
I don't know if you watched. Did you watch it or no?
I did, but I hadn't seen it. I mean,
so the girl she was Miss Missouri, so yeah. I was happy to try.
I wasn't a fan of her. I don't know. I don't know why. I just remember not being a fan of her. But I think it's a tough.
You're loyal to me.
Yeah, I think it was a tough position to be in. If I'm watching the show and you're in the same place you were in, because as you're watching the show, people are like, well, I don't like that decision. I think this is, you know, that's not really nice. Or so I think it's a hard position to be in when you're the one. And every week people are watching you make these decisions and choices and things you're saying. You know, I think that's a tough position. But everyone has their rooting interests, right? I mean, I'm sure as you go back, everyone had people that they wanted you to root for. And I think I remember, you know what, I'd have to watch it again. But I think I remember you doing a pretty good job of your choices on your show. What would you change differently going back?
Nothing. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything. You
still talk to anyone from the shows?
On Facebook, if someone posts something, I like it. Yeah, from the original show, Zach, who I knew beforehand, is still my friend. We actually just booked a trip to the Hamptons for July 4th weekend.
My sister loves going to the Hamptons. Are they open? Open full blown?
I hope so.
My sister went last year for like a weekend, just to go didn't really hang out like with the big scene, but just to go. So hopefully it is. It should be some fun.
No, I feel like everything's getting more open now.
Yeah. On the show, what surprised you from a reality TV, you know, rules kind of perspective, or you know, what shocked you or when you were there?
No, I was just kind of taking it as it went. I felt like I just got to understood the process. Like when you see people answering questions, they're asked a question, and you have to say the question back with the answer. So like, are you in love? And then you would say, you know, when it comes to being in love, it feels like love if you don't want to say love. But like you answer the question, or like, what happened when you went up in the plane? When we went up in the plane, and you just get taught to answer the questions with the question. And so, but your answer could still be your answer, you know? I always felt like it was an exaggerated version of yourself.
Yeah, like leading questions, almost like you see in a courtroom. What are the rules? I mean, is there stuff you can't talk about still today?
No, it was a long time ago, so it's like, yeah.
It feels like it's, reality TV is somewhat scripted, and it might be much different today than it was back there. It feels like they kind of, they push the fights or drama, maybe even push someone towards who you want to choose. I don't know what makes for better television. Was any of that going on when you were there?
Oh, listen, they definitely want to create drama, but they're not influencing your decisions at all. Like,
No.
every decision you make, what you say is up to you. But it's also the environment where they take away your phones. On all these dating shows, you don't have access to speak to people, so you're in a bubble where the only person you're supposed to date is that one person, and the only people you speak to are in that room. So that becomes your life while you're there, because there's nothing else to focus on. There's no TV, there's no internet, there's just that. And so that kind of enhances the drama too. Like Big Brother.
Yeah, even
that's a good one, by the way.
Big Brother. Yeah, my wife watches it. I'll watch it when it's on there. But I love it. Why do they always scream when they go into the thing? Is that, do you know, like, when they're always talking so loud when they're in the little confession room?
I don't know.
Just something that went to me. It's different now than even when you were on the show with your cell phone. And then think about when we were in college. I didn't have a cell phone. We were like, it's crazy to think, how the hell did we even survive to meet up with people and figure out how to get to a place? Like, I was writing down directions, Google it, and it's just nuts to think how technology has changed. Dating too. I met my wife on a dating app on Bumble, and we have a friend of the show tomorrow. He's got an app called Playing the Field, which is going to be an app that sort of brings together sports fans for dating, but also for just for people, like, if you want to play, hey, I want someone to play hoops with, or someone to, play baseball with. So it's technology has really changed. How did you meet your wife?
Living in my building. That day she moved into the building, I went over to her.
Wow.
My roommate was from Marlboro too, Adam Berkowitz, and we lived together for 7 years, and he saw her, and he had a girlfriend. He's like, he tapped me, and he's like, look, and we had been like pre-gaming before we went out, so I just walked over.
And that's it. The rest is history.
Yeah.
There's no real bad way to meet someone, whether it's on an app, in your building, on a TV show. If you could go and do one of these shows and pick anyone you want, Married at First Sight or Big Brother, which show would you choose to go on? Which reality show that exists today?
Well, I think from a business perspective, Keeping Up with the Kardashians would make you the most money because they all became billionaires.
Yeah.
So from a business perspective, that one. From a fun perspective, Big Brother. The idea of living in a house and eliminating people. I don't know how I do, but I've always loved that show. So that one will probably be fun.
Yeah. What do you think would be your strong suit in a Big Brother situation?
It's funny. That's the thing. Like, I'd like to think I'd be likable, but I'm also competitive with the sports, so that might be annoying. I don't know.
You can try out. They have Celebrity Big Brother. Are you a celebrity?
I don't think so.
But you're a public figure. I mean, something about you being on the show and you being on TV to people coming to you to talk. It's interesting. I mean, it's everyone has a definition.
It's different. Like, I did it both ways. Like, the first way was through television, and the show I did was on after Friends in its final season. So 30 million people watched the finale. So that kind of exposure was fast, furious, and I loved it. I enjoyed it, but it didn't feel earned. It felt like everyone liked me because I was on TV. The second go around now, having been in business for 15 years, my emails reach over 1 million people every day. And we have over 15,000 subscribers in our community. And I'm on webinars every week talking with them. And this time around, it feels earned. Like, they like me for what I've done. And it's not because I was on TV. It's because of the experience I've provided with what I do. And that is a better feeling. So like, I'd much rather be famous for being a successful basketball player and everyone knows this is what I'm good at than just having seen me on television, you know?
No, I get that, but you got to get your start somewhere, and however you can get it, it's almost like it's up to you to make whatever you can out of the situation. But everyone needs a big break somehow. Look, think about the Kardashians. I mean, what made them famous? Nothing really.
No, you know what? Now, what you just said is 100% right, because there's been a zillion reality shows. The Kardashians made themselves that. So when you get put in, right, you could be put in any situation. It's what you do with it that works. And you're right. When I started, there were 20 guys, 19 guys. I ended up with my own show. So yes, you create the most out of your opportunities, for sure. But yeah, you got to start somewhere. And then what do you do with that opportunity?
What's the the stock market? And let's talk about the business a little bit here. The stock market is, how do you view the stock market for someone who knows? Because from me, who doesn't do a whole lot within the stock market, it's it's gambling in a little bit, right? It's speculation. So how are you teaching people, or are you teaching? I mean, are you more someone who's going to be valuable to an investor already, or someone who's just beginning, or is it any of it?
I would say the stock market's much more about probability than certainty. And that's why I don't think of it as gambling, because I play the percentages. I put on trades and it shows me you have a 70% chance of being correct. So I do the math, I define my risk, and that's what I've shown other people how to do. So, I think there's an importance to be disciplined. But most people who trade in the markets, they want to make extra money without moving too far backwards. Most people will be happy with just a successful formula where they can win each year. And that's my focus. I'm not looking to create millionaires. I'm sure that I have. People have told me they have. It's a dangerous business to go out and say that you have without having a stack of documentation. So unlike other people in my industry, I'm not hyping up the millionaires I've created because there's no real benefit, and I don't want that expectation. For me, the goal is simple. I want, when people trade, that it's not a hobby, because a hobby you spend money on, but it's a source of income. It's a profitable one. So it's a money-making activity, not a hobby. That's what I aspire for everyone who I meet and teach to trade.
Yeah, I still would argue that it's gambling, because you do know the probability of sports, and I mean everything about sports has odds, which is probabilities. And I guess part of the thing that people don't like, and you can explain better, it's got a negative connotation, right? We call it gambling, educated gambling. Well,
I think a negative connotation would be if someone lost money. That would create a negative connotation. And I think it depends on how long you've been doing it. If someone came into the stock market in 2020, 2021, they bought GameStop, and made a fortune, they'd probably say they were lucky. But if someone's been trading for 20 years and they made money every year, you could argue that's not gambling because of the track record.
Right.
So for me, it's about the long game. Can you do it successfully over long periods of time? And that's why I think it is important.
Which includes losing.
Losing is a big part of trading. You should be able to lose on 50% of your trades and still be profitable.
But there are people who still are not profitable, right?
Most people are not profitable.
And that's why you exist.
Well, most people, they say that most people who trade for themselves lose. I try to show people how not to lose.
Yeah. And how do you do that? What type of programs do you have? You mentioned webinars. Is there one-on-one coaching? How does that work?
So back in the day, 2006, 7, 8, 9, one-on-one coaching was our priority. But then we transitioned to subscriptions and webinars where we speak to groups of people at a time. And then we teach specific strategies. So, Real quick, I'll just riff for a second. A diagonal calendar is a strategy that not a lot of people do. Not even bankers and stuff can explain it. But it's creating a synthetic covered call. So you'll go out and you'll buy an option that's 65 days out in time or more. And then you'll collect weekly premium against that option. And the weekly premium collection is worth more than the original cost of that option. So you don't need your stock to go up to win. You just have to collect premium. Now, if the stock falls apart at the beginning, can you lose? Yes, but it's still a defined risk trade. And for me, what I do with every trade is we put it on a tracker, and you can see in any service every trade I've ever made. And we send the emails out, entry to exit, so people can follow along, and they all win. Not on a grand scale. I don't put on big size. I'm looking to make hundreds of dollars on a trade, but to get that win. And to your point with the gambling, if you have a premium collection component, means you're not just buying options, you're selling them. That's how you become the house. And if you want to use the gambling analogy, then we say the house always wins, right?
Does it have to be, is this my own money? Is this 401k / IRA stuff, the investing that you work with?
It's every individual's choice, but it's money set aside. It should be risk capital. It should never be money that you need to run your business, to pay your rent, or anything like that. Like if someone says I only have $1,000 to my name, I'd say don't put it in the stock market. Ideally, people start with 25,000 risk capital because then they have 4-to-1, and they trade small. They never have more than 7% of their capital in one trade. And they start small but get proof of concept.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, what dollar amount would you suggest starting with? If I
was trading options, no matter who you are, I'd say start with one contract. So typically for us, in a service, the risk capital to get involved in a trade, meaning the cost of the option, would be $2.70. That's what it's been over the last couple of years. So if you did one contract, your risk to do a trade would be $270. But you don't want to have $270 to start. You want to be able to get 20, 30 trades to see if you could be good at it.
Yeah. And how much time is involved in this? I mean, you say it's not a hobby, but it's a side, it's like a side hustle, a side business. So how much time does someone have to involve to really trade and give them?
Again, it's individual. So like the strategy I just talked about, the diagonals, that's one action a week where you're collecting premium each week. So you have the long-term option, and then every Thursday we buy that back and we sell a new one. So it's just like collecting rent. That's a lifestyle service. Credit spreads, where you have time working in your favor and you just want them to expire worthless. Lifestyle service. Active trading, where you're buying options that expire in a couple of days. Now you need to be at the computer more often. And what we found is people separate themselves out. So the largest group of people want the least time-sensitive trades. They want to be able to run their life, do their things, but have some skin in the game. The people that progress along the way narrow themselves out. So we have 15,000 people. I'd say we have under 500 that want to be actively watching the markets all day long.
And those people are looking to, and that's day trading.
It's not day trading. No, it's still not day trading. That I moved away from entirely. I don't think you could win as a day trader. Some people do, but the math gets really bad. And that's how I started, because everything's changed. There's computer algorithms. You're not fighting a fair fight there, which is why I like options too. I switched, but I started and had a lot of success as a day trader, but I wouldn't recommend that to my worst enemy right now. I think it's too hard to compete, and it's not a lifestyle you would want. So we don't teach any day trading.
Did you ever hear of the Water Coolest? It's a newsletter I just got. It's like a Wall Street. I'll have to send it to you.
I'd like to see it.
Probably more interesting to you than it is to me, because I don't really dabble in. I need to do more. I have IRA. You got the 401k, and it kind of just sits there. It's a long-term play. What do you suggest for someone like that who has, because I probably have X amount of dollars in there to be a little bit more risky, and you have some that's safe. What do you recommend for the people who aren't really that risk averse, but still have a little bit of money and want to see what they can do in the market?
I think for anyone that's asking the question, how good can I be at this? What you want to do is start small, get proof of concept. And you said it, like, for anyone, I always say, you never want to wake up in the middle of the night thinking about your trades. You always want to keep it to the fact that, like, anything else you're investing in, like if you got involved in NFTs or you have some money in Bitcoin, that you're not nervous and jittery and it's affecting your life and your ability to do your own job. Like, if you were trading and all of a sudden you weren't doing your podcast and you weren't running your business, I'd say you're trading too much. But if you have that where you could go check it and be like, oh, cool, I'm up, I understand this, that's the level you want to start at. And I like starting people with either credit spreads or diagonal calendars because they have a much higher win rate. And I want people with so much hype out there, I just want to show someone something that they have a good chance to be successful at, even in a small amount. So I start with credit spreads or diagonal calendars, start small, give them proof of concept. The thing about that, though, is I'm trusting the audience because they are not the first step. The first step in options would be to buy a call or a put. I like to take you a little deeper into the game and trust that you could follow it. But by going a little deeper and taking those extra steps, there's a much better chance you'll be successful.
How difficult is it to learn and understand? I mean, some people are numbers, some people have a good head for finance.
I think if there's a saying, I use it on my kids all the time because my wife says, why don't you go practice this more with them? I'm like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? If people want to learn and they're going to ask questions and show up and do the work, they're going to have a good experience. If they expect that signing up for a course means they're going to make money without doing any of the work, they won't be successful. So it's really about, wanting to be successful and willing to, and being into it.
Yeah. What so you're a coach. You're not an advisor. Why are you coaching instead of saying, "Hey, give me your money, I'll do what I'm saying and I'll help you and I take a piece." What was the reasoning for going in that direction?
Right, that's the choice. People say all the time, "Can I give you my money and trade it for me?" And you could do one or the other. So if you're an individual advisor, you can speak to individuals, you sign licenses, you manage their money, and then you're also very limited in what you could do for yourself because you're managing other people's money. Everything has to go through approval. I've always loved trading. I've always made thousands of trades a year. So I didn't want to give that up to manage other people's money because I still do it for myself. So as an educator, you could speak to a group of people at a time, give them education, ideas, strategies, but you can't do both. You can't speak to a group and then have someone pay you individually for that advice. So for me, with what I like to do, it fit best to go this route. And I'm so deep in now, 15 years, I can't switch.
When you're speaking to a group, can you give them advice on specific stocks and options, or you're just trying to tell them, hey, this is what you're doing and you need to find?
You could give examples for educational purposes, track record and stuff to show how strategy works and play it out. So if I'm on a call with a couple hundred people, I could be like, this is how it works to buy a call on Uber and sell a call, and we're going to keep track and see how this trade goes. And you can see it beginning to end. But then if we get off that call and you call me and you're like, Adam, what should I do with Apple, or should I buy some Apple? I can't answer that. So in a group, I could give an illustrative purpose and keep a track record and do all those things for educational purposes. But one-on-one, I can't do anything.
That's interesting. Because I know we had back in the day, we had people who were getting investments from friends and stuff, and then stuff. We know people in the Marlboro circles where it went south. There's a lot. The market, and I want to talk about NFTs and crypto also. I mean, that stuff is ripe for manipulation and fraud. I mean, I used to work for LexisNexis, and fraud on that it's a billion dollar industry. What's your take on NFTs and crypto? Are you involved in it personally? What do you think about it?
I own Bitcoin. I'm the worst NBA Top Shop investor you've ever met in your entire life. Down like 85% off the top. and I tried to get in. My friend just bought a Series 1 digital horse for racing for 38 grand or something. And I tried to buy in and he wouldn't let me because he already had people offering him 55 for it. So I think it's worth it to get exposure, just for the sense that if it works, there's advantages to being in on that stuff. But you have to be willing to lose money, and it should, again, only be risk capital. And no, I don't have any NFT subscriptions, but I'm into it. It's all the rage right now. Like, I don't know Dogecoin, but I was interested to see how it would trade off of Saturday Night Live. The tanked.
It took a dive, right? Yeah, people like sell it and then now they're going to rebuy it. It's my friend Oishik is big into the NFT horses. He bought a horse. Have you watched the race?
Is that his first name or last name?
His first name. It's Aishik, Lala. He's got a great company. We had him on the Wolff Den too. He's all in on NFTs, and he's a big.
I haven't watched the race. Have you?
I did. He showed us a race. It's interesting. It's not for me because I don't think you don't have a lot of control on it. It's almost why I don't do online like poker. It's so random.
So if you try Poker Brothers, that's the worst.
Yeah.
It's like rigged for action. But I heard if your horse loses, it loses all its value. But if it wins a couple races, the value soars.
Yeah, he would be better to tell you. I know he's done okay in some races, and there's some stuff. I don't know. I just think this is it's a vehicle. It's the vehicle when they need to work on the experience. But at the end of the day, something's only worth what someone puts a value on it. And that's the same with stocks, right? These stocks are only worth what someone says it's worth. And it could be, higher, it could go up, it could go lower. For me, it's not, I don't see it. I think a lot of it's unaffordable too. Like it's very hard to get in. Think about trying to be able to get into a NBA Top Shot, or even this whole new thing that Gary Vee is trying to do. Like 10 grand. That's a high entry cost for something.
What was that? What the entry cost was with Gary Vee?
Well, it hasn't even started yet because he promised a 5/5 launch, and
all right. So I saw it's going to be NFTs with VCon and stuff like that, and I would have liked to have participated. I would buy Ethereum, but then I heard there's like all these other steps along the way, which I didn't feel like dealing with.
Yeah, he was gonna do a reverse auction. So starts at 10 and goes down, but it's not gonna go down very much from 10. There's enough people who will buy it. And that's the other thing too. There's so much stuff out there that people are buying that they can't afford. This is such a dangerous area. You probably see it in stocks, but I think it goes for anything. It could be something as little as concert tickets or vacation, baseball memorabilia. There's just so much out there that people are kind of spending money they don't have on it because they think it might be the next big thing. It's very risky.
Well, I think going back to what you just said with people investing in things, I think anything that's not correlated with your time can move up or down in perceived value, whether it's NFTs, stocks, baseball cards, NBA Top Shot, gold, anything that people place a value on can move, right? The only things that don't move are your one-on-one time. So if you are a chiropractor and you're charging per session, that's your rate. That's a fixed rate for a fixed amount of time. So the benefit is what you're going to get, but the negative is your time is now limited. So anything else is going to go based on anything that doesn't revolve around time. The value is going to change because it's all perception.
Right, but there's a difference. Like housing market can go up or down. Houses have value. Cars never. I mean, antiques maybe, but your average
cars. Oh my God! I just heard a story the other day. Someone said a couple of years ago they went to buy a car. He got the guy down. He's like, he got him to give him everything. He got the best price. He went in now because of COVID, because of the back order, because of everything else. Sales guy's like, I remember you. It's not going to be like last time. you're paying my price now. Otherwise, wait a year for a car. The guy's like, okay. Like, so
But I think
cars change.
once you buy the car, the value just goes down.
Oh, right.
No, the car market is wood. We're doing some construction here on my man cave. Wood has tripled in price since the first of the year. Obviously, chicken wings. There's a chicken wings shortage. I got a bag of chicken wings in my freezer. I don't even know if I should hold it or eat it. I don't know.
Sell it.
It's not worth enough. What do you collect anything? Are you a card? You grow up collecting cards and stuff. Do you have anything that you collect?
No, I have the Top Shot moments, but I wouldn't consider myself a collector. I just stink at it. For me, like my passion, the hobby is fantasy football. But that's not like if they created something around that, maybe I'd be interested. But like that's my off work, just pure passion play. I'm obsessed with fantasy football.
My friend Joe is putting out a thing called Trading Players, which is going to be fantasy football / stocks. I think it would be right up your alley. They haven't launched yet, but they have a beta. I think it's going to be available for this season. And there's algorithms. I'll send you some information about it.
I got involved in there was a thing years ago where you could buy stock in a player's career. And I think I owned Vernon Davis stock based on the career earnings. And the market was so illiquid that I got out, but I lost money.
This is a different scenario. You'll probably understand it more, but it's only on the season, and there's just limitations to it. So it's more of a fantasy football type environment where you're not going to get rich on anything. There's just whatever they did, they made it so it's not like that, and it's going to be different than the fantasy sports stuff. So someone can't figure out the algorithm and figure out how to there's no beating the system.
Right.
Interesting. I'm excited to see that because I got out of fantasy football a long time ago. I'm too biased, and it's I hated having to root against my team, and it was just weird like that. But you probably started when I started, when we were, Monday morning we'd get the paper and we'd have to physically calculate the scores. Nobody knew. You had no idea. I'm like, I think my team did well, but I don't know.
Right.
Today, it's right then and there, hey, my guy needs 3 more yards. 3 more yards.
By the way, I missed that. Getting the newspaper and writing down the stats and adding it up was great.
I missed it too. I would definitely do it if it was that way, where I didn't have to be constantly on my phone or on the computer. I'm on that way too much for everything else I do. It's it's a little bit too much for me. But we're talking about collectibles, or you don't collect much. What do you spend money on that's not necessities? What?
My wife.
That's it. I said that's not a necessity. That's a necessity.
All right, that's fair.
You collect art? Do you it's vacations? Experiences? What?
Yeah, all that. I'm pretty loose. I invented the word YOLO. I don't know if you knew that, but I am credited with inventing the word YOLO, and I always took that word to mean you only live once, so make the most of life. So even before I had money, I would spend money, not on ridiculous stuff, like on moments and vacations. Yeah, anything that's fun, like a night out, a vacation, whatever it is, because can't take it with you, and I don't want to look back with regrets. So I'm a big believer. Every day I try to think, how could I have fun? How could I enjoy life?
I'm the same way. I'm living the same lifestyle now that I was when I first started working, making $30,000 a year. It's just I'm saving more money, and I'm maybe being able to do it in a grander stage. We have so many traditions that I've accumulated in whether it's trips or just collecting stuff and vacation.
Well, you're an entrepreneur. Clearly, you have your own business, your own podcast. I do think that's the entrepreneur mindset. I think entrepreneurs think, I'll figure it out. And so they're not afraid to spend money because they have confidence that they'll find a way to make money. I do think it's a little bit different. I'm not trying to be negative, but I think if you're an employee and you're relying on people for money, then you're more a little bit, it's a different mindset. You're watching what you're spending because it's controlled. But I always feel like entrepreneurs don't think like that.
But I wasn't an entrepreneur until, my 40s.
And you were still like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I just always knew I'd be able to find a way, and I can't get that stuff back. The time, the memories. I don't know if you know this. I lost my father in 2005.
Sorry.
So I felt that way beforehand, but it's just like, look, life can be short. I don't want to live with regrets. Like you said, I can't take the money. Like you have a wife and kids, and you have to worry about supporting people, and you hope to leave them with, some stuff to go by. But yeah, I don't want to regret not having done something because of money. And I treat my friends that way. Like, don't not come on this trip because it's $500 you can't spend. Like, these are my lifelong friends. We do a trip every year. Like, that's not going to be the reason why you can't go. And, so I never want that to be a reason why I can't do things. There's other reasons why I can't, but I never want, money within reason to be a reason why I don't do something or I don't buy this. And I'm very lucky that way to be able to do it. And believe me, I'm nowhere near, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not rich. I live a comfortable life. And this whole entrepreneurship, I know I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get. My friend Bren is saying NCAA, he typed up, but we go to the NCAA basketball tournament every year. And so he's saying he's got more money than I do. So he's going to have to pay me while I'm trying to figure it out. Do you have any traditions? I know you hang out with some Marlboro people, or maybe some stuff that you started when you were at Michigan, or maybe stuff afterwards. What do you do every year that is a tradition for you?
So I go to Sea Island, Georgia every summer, usually the last weekend in August, not this summer because my brother-in-law's getting married, but we go with this bunch of couples, spend a family vacation there every week. My wife's family's from Miami, so we go there for a lot of holidays. I'm getting together with some Marlboro guys. That's the July 4th crew we just put together now. And then the fantasy football is a great way because the leagues, as I brought up, I have a Michigan league with all my Michigan friends. I have a league with my friends from the city, the guys from my town now. And so you have that draft every year where you see everyone. Until last year, it was all online because of COVID. But and then during that season, you're just chatting with them all the time, which is fun. And that's how you keep it. You keep it like that.
I think so. I'm considered the glue for my Marlboro crew because they only almost hang out when I'm home visiting there. But I like to believe that even if we didn't have Facebook or any of this stuff, that I still would be, in touch with the people I grew up with, a small group of them, because I think it's important. These are people that I know my whole life, and even though life changes and stuff takes us away, it's just great to see them a couple times a year. And
by the way, talking about Marlboro, I just said this the other night. I forgot. Oh, my friend has his 20-year high school reunion or something coming up, maybe more. 25 probably. I don't know. Anyhow, dude, right after I did that show was my 10-year Marlboro high school reunion.
Wow.
And I was literally world famous and so excited to go and see everybody in the height of my fame. And I forgot the day and I missed it.
Oh my God.
When you ask things you regret, I said the other night, I'm like, I can't believe I missed the reunion. I was so excited to go.
I missed our 10-year and our 15-year. And then we did for our 20-year, we did just a sort of a casual event at the shore. And I went to that. It was it was so much fun. And I was like, hey, let's do this every other year. Just pick a bar and just go hang out with the people. It's like we used to do Thanksgiving, right? You used to do,
right.
We used to come on Wednesday night Thanksgiving.
Go to Fridays.
Yeah, which isn't even Fridays anymore, right?
Right. What is it now?
I don't know. Then we went to this cantina place. It changed a little bit, but I used to love going to see people that, I wasn't friends with necessarily, but we were friends with, and we can still, catch up. And I do that on Facebook now, and try and get more involved because I think we're much different than we were in high school and even in college and even when we graduated. It's like you might navigate towards people who you would never have talked to in high school, that you just didn't have a whole lot in common. Now you see people having families and, you being on TV and having this big presence in the stock market. And, a lot of people are into that, or fantasy football, or Michigan, whatever that is. There's something that connects us all, aside from being from Marlboro, which I'm very proud to be of. I love Marlboro. I love going back to it. I always will. And I want to have a reunion every other year where we can just go and kind of hang out and kind of talk to the people that you don't normally get. I think they had like 30 people show up to the 10-year reunion, and that included guests. And we were a class of 500. It's crazy. Right. But if you can go to your next reunion, definitely. It was so much fun. I'm sorry I missed the first couple. Here we got Jeff Brand. Go Mustangs. Brand, I don't know if you remember him, but
yeah, of course.
Wrestled in football.
We wrestled together.
Yeah, he's part of our.
He was good.
Oh, he is strong. He's part of our sports weekend crew.
Is he 140, 145? I
don't remember what he is.
A little lighter.
He's all muscle now. He's strong as hell. We do high fives. He breaks my hand every time I get a high five from him. But we're looking forward. Sports weekend. We did our 50th episode of the Wolff Den with the sports weekend crew. You could watch it to find out more about that. But NFL schedule comes out Wednesday, and we'll have an idea of where our trip will be. It's going to be our 20th year going together with Jeff Brand and Dave Frindell and Kevin Polevsky, my brother. That's the core of the crew. And we're going to figure out where we're going for our 20th year. So love it.
Awesome.
Really excited about it. Let's talk about Michigan for example, because Michigan's one of those schools where we had a lot of people from our school. Same with the University of Florida. Why'd you choose Michigan? Obviously, it's a great school academically, sports. What made you choose Michigan? Was there another school you were looking at?
No. My dad went to Binghamton, and he wanted me to have a big school experience. So he kind of had it in my head that he wanted me to go to a Big Ten sports school. So I only applied to 4 schools. And then I remember getting called to the principal's office, and he was waiting there with a Michigan sweatshirt and hat because I had gotten in. And I did early admission, and I never even thought about it again. That's
awesome. What's wrong with their football program?
I think they'll be all right. I still like Jim Harbaugh. All my friends don't. They've given up on him. I have not. I'm still a believer, and I think I'd rather see him stay, and I think they'll have success if he stays.
I mean, we have this thing with the Gators, too. What is success? Do they have to make the playoffs? Because the Gators never made the playoffs yet, and I think we're on the upswing, but I don't know that you could say that for Michigan. So
Michigan never played in the playoffs either.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He needs to make the playoffs, and he probably needs to make it soon. Otherwise, and plus beat Ohio State. But it's funny, as a fan, what makes you think? I'm always optimistic. I think the Gators are going to win every game. I think we can make the playoffs every year. Obviously, you guys got to beat Ohio State. Why are you confident in Harbaugh? Why does he keep deserving the benefit of the doubt?
I think his track record, what he did at Stanford, the early success with the 49ers, and yeah, I don't know. You just see he's always on the verge. I think you just stay with him. And I think we had such turnover with so many different coaches that you got to kind of just let someone settle in. How long has he been there? Was it?
He's been there a while, longer than you think. He's been there longer than you think. I actually think he's not the right guy for the job.
I like him. I like that I like everything about him.
Yeah, I do agree with the things that you said because, it's hard. You got to have some continuity. And you got to give someone the chance. And I don't know. Some of it's just dumb luck. We win a game here or there, and you're right. You're right where you need to be.
I went. I'm involved with a bunch of stuff in Michigan. I went to an event where he spoke, and he told this amazing story about how growing up, his family didn't have a lot of money, but if the car didn't work, then his dad would be like, "All right, we're walking to school. Everyone grab a basketball, dribble on the way there." And he would always ask his kids, who has it better than us? And they would say, nobody, right? But they would do it longer, nobody. And he brought that mentality to Michigan. And that's the way he views life. Who has it better than us every single day? We're here. We're doing this. So that speech resonated with me. And maybe that's why I'm just going to be loyal to him as long as he's there.
I don't think he's a bad coach. I just think, they need to win. That's it. The same way with Florida and all these other schools. They just need to win. They're right there. But there's a big difference between winning and losing when in some other, in college football, that's it. You know, Michigan basketball is doing great right now. You know, Juwan Howard doing a great job there. It's interesting. We'll see. I kind of root for Michigan a lot more than some other schools. I don't know why. I just, you know, in the Big Ten, it just felt like a team to root for. So we'll see. I hope they'll make a turnaround because I'm tired of seeing Ohio State.
Yeah, me too.
One thing I did want to ask you about, and I forgot to mention, with regards to the average Joe and speaking about Marlboro, you know, Robbie Klug goes on the Mama's Boys show.
Yep.
Did he reach out to you for any advice?
Yeah, we connected, and I connected with Esther too and Scott, and yeah, great family. Yeah, friendly with him, and totally watched that, rooting for him. And the girl that he picked is one of my wife's best friends to this day, ironically.
Really, that's great. Yeah, Stacy went to UF.
Yeah,
you know, from there, but great family. Obviously, it's just funny at Marlboro, you know, because there's been some other people on reality shows, and it's interesting how, you know, I don't know. It's just interesting how that goes, and people are connected. And I'm a big fan of networking, so, you know, people helping other people, and it's not a competition. We can all help each other and elevate each other and expand our network anyway. And that's why I was scrolling through, figuring like, who can I have on the show? And I'm like, let's have Adam on. I think Adam would be a great guest. There, you know, people love to hear more about the average Joe. Stock market is a big thing that I think you could add value to. So hopefully people can sign up. We'll give some information on how they can do that. We always like to ask a few questions. Give me some bucket list. Give me a bucket list sporting event for you that you haven't been to.
been to March Madness finals. I've been to the Super Bowl. Been to the World Series. Been to the NBA finals.
Here's where you haven't been.
Yeah, I'm going through it.
Have you been to the Masters?
I have not been to the Masters.
Masters and the Kentucky Derby are on my list. Those are mine.
I've not been to the Kentucky Derby. I've never been to a UFC fight.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Would you like to go on the island? Can they have fights on the island?
I'd like to see Conor McGregor fight.
Yeah.
Before he retires.
It'd be an interesting
again.
I'll never retire if they keep throwing money at him.
Yeah.
Give me a Mount Rushmore. Let's do football. You're a big fantasy football guy. Give me a Mount Rushmore of NFL. It could be your four favorite. It doesn't have you could do the four best ever or your four favorite.
Favorite's easier. Like, I love the Manning family. Like, Peyton Manning to root for. Everything about. I have all his memorabilia. And by default, I really like Eli too because he won me a couple Super Bowls for the Giants. Tom Brady having the Michigan, and also the fact that he went from in 1 year to the Bucs and won a Super Bowl. That accomplishment just baffles my mind that he was able to do it. So incredible.
He had a good team around him, but it was a very big.
And I love Troy Polamalu on the Steelers defense. Those are all current players. Like, greatest of all time would be like a Lawrence Taylor, still Tom Brady, Jim Brown, but yeah.
What's your favorite piece of memorabilia? You said that you have some memorabilia.
I have a lot of Manning stuff. I have a lot of Sylvester Stallone stuff. I'm a huge Rocky fan. I just got a signed Tom Brady Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl jersey. Not Super Bowl, just regular Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey. But my favorite memorabilia is signed Sylvester Stallone boxing gloves that say "Keep on punching."
Oh, that's great. Peyton Manning is a great actor. His personality, you wouldn't have thought of it, but the commercials he did and the Saturday Night Live bits, it's great. We'll let you go on the last question that we ask everybody. You got 24 hours to spend with someone. They have to be living, and you can't be related to them. Who are you picking? And what are you guys going to do? I'm going to put it on a list, and we're going to try and make it happen for some of our guests.
They have to be living?
You got to be living, and you can't be related to them.
Right. That's a good one. My first instinct was to say Michael Jordan.
Yeah, we've had him before. What'd you do? Play golf? Play hoops?
Both. I got the dad.
Yeah, he can't give you advice on that. He wants to know about
Well, I can in this format because there's a big group of people.
Okay.
I have trades on in DraftKings. I'm bullish. I'm bullish in the long term. I think they're first to market, just like Google, Facebook, everything like that. It's interesting the DraftKings Penn race, but I lean DraftKings still.
Yeah, but Barstool is associated with Penn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's love to have Dave Portnoy. Remember you eat at Federici's, right, in Freehold?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a pizza review for Federici's there. It was good. So is Jordan your answer? We got off track. Jordan's your answer?
I gotta think about that more.
No, you can let me know. You can let me know after. We'll put it on
Bill Gates now. I love everything. I love everything that the way his mind works, the way he's spread stuff out after Microsoft, the way he was preparing for coronavirus before it happened, and the way he thinks about the world. That could be really beneficial.
Yeah,
pick his brain, and also maybe like a divorce party with him. That could be fun.
Yeah, that would be real fun. His documentary, I think it was Being Bill Gates or Being Bill. It was very interesting. I'm a fan of his. I know there's a lot of people who got a lot of, it's like with any billionaire, right? There are always people who are going to say good things about him and bad things about him.
Did you see Elon Musk on Saturday Night Live?
I watched a little bit about. He was good. I thought he was.
I didn't know that he had Asperger's.
Yeah, he was funny.
I didn't know that though. It's crazy that I had no idea, and he just came out and said, "I'm the first person with Asperger's on Saturday Night Live."
I also never really saw him talk at a long period of time, so it was interesting. But I recommend people watch it. He also said he's the first one who has it, or at least admitted it. So there might be people who don't have it, people can hide it well, sort of. I don't know. It's worth doing. I got some stuff I'm going to send you, the water coolest and some other stuff. Definitely love to talk again about anything. It was great catching up with you. AdamMesh.com. You can find him on Twitter, on Instagram. If you want to join his newsletter or find out more about how he can help coach you up in trading, if it's something you're doing now or something that you would like to learn about, right? Any last words for the traders out there? How can they help you? How can they support you? How can they find out more information? Anything other than what I said?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to the newsletter. It's free. Thank you for that. No, this is a blast, and I like the Marlboro support. See the Marlboro names. Like seeing Jeff Brand come on. That was great. And this is fun, relaxing. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, we'll talk again, and if we're ever in the same area, happy to grab a drink. Here, last one, SPG.
That one I don't know. I don't have an opinion on. But great leadership there, and if you're betting on the man, they got a great team. So hard to bet against them.
We got to go before Brent keeps asking 100 things. He's big into watching the stocks. He's not a day trader, but he's more short term doing. But I'll tell him to subscribe. To the newsletter. That's good. Is that the best way to get information? Subscribe to the newsletter.
Yeah, at AdamMesh.com. If you put your name in, you'll get an email every day.
Okay, I'm going to subscribe and put it in the folder and see if we can get any nuggets and maybe try, because I definitely need to learn more about it. So, Adam Mesh, thanks for joining us. We'll have another show tomorrow on the Wolff Den, and check him out, AdamMesh.com. Have a great week.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.